Welcome to Kermode Uncut. I'm thrilled to say that we're joined by Amma Asante, the director of Belle and the United Kingdom. Amma, you recently received your MBE.
I did.
From Buckingham Palace. This has just happened. What was it like?
You know what? It was quite moving. It was really, really nerve-wracking until the moment that they're leading you towards the Prince. Mine was the Prince of Wales.
And do they tell you when they give you the MBE what they're giving it to you for? Is there a specific citation? So in your case it was generally fabulous.
I wish. For my style. No, it was for services to film as a writer and director.
Fantastic.
Which is lovely.
Now, the last time we spoke to you, you were finishing work on Where Hands Touch, which is this passion project you've had for ages, which is about a relationship between a biracial girl and a Hitler Youth boy in Nazi Germany.
Yes.
And I know that it's been a very controversial project, and a lot of people have sort of misread what the film's about. Tell me about some of the responses to the idea of the film that you've encountered.
Well, it's really interesting. One of the reasons very much why I wanted to make the film was to sort of explore the environment we live in, the world we live in, and how, if you're raised in an environment where all your cultural influences are as negative as those were for Hitler Youth, how you fight against that to be the person that you're really supposed to be, you know, the good person that you're really supposed to be. Essentially, the film is about a biracial girl who is struggling to find her own identity and negotiate her identity in a world that's telling her that she's something that she's not. An echo of that is a young Hitler Youth boy who's sort of in his own way doing the same thing, which is struggling to define himself in a society that's telling him he should be something else.
So many of your films are about the idea of identity, about somebody discovering who they are, and this fits, I think, very well with that. What's it like when you've made a film that is exploring those ideas, but from the outside, it may look to people like that's not what it's about?
Yeah, well, it's obviously I've seen it happen before with other films. It's scary when it happens to you.
How does it happen? What sort of manifestations does it have?
I think it's when a narrative is kind of hijacked in a way. So the work isn't out there yet, so people can't really judge it. Inevitably, you'll get people who jump on a bandwagon who decide the film is about something that it's not, or that you have intentions in terms of the way, you know, your reasons for telling the film that just are not there, and actually usually completely the opposite. There's absolutely no way that me as a black female is going to tell a movie about, you know, supporting the ethos of the Hitler Youth, or supporting...
So was that something that some people thought that maybe, what they were saying, why are you painting the Hitler Youth in a positive light? Was that what they were saying?
I think so. I think originally, before I released a statement, when it seemed like there was a bit of distress out there about what the project might be about, and so I made sure that I released a statement to just say, hey, listen, growing up the way that I did, I'm absolutely the last person who is going to be glamorising or sort of romanticising the Hitler Youth. But what I guess the film tries to do in terms of that character, because it has a very specific journey in terms of the black female character, but what I'm trying to do with his character is really ask questions, but also explore from the point of view of who we are today, how we are educating and crafting children who end up being grown-ups, who, for instance, march in Charlottesville, or who, for instance, hold really, really, today, neo-Nazi views, as opposed to the Nazi views that I'm looking at in the film. Move! My thing is, I can't wait to start having conversations with people once they've seen the film, because I think that's when you can have real conversations.
One final thing, when you were making the movie, the issues that you were dealing with weren't so much in the news, and since the movie has been made, suddenly all this stuff, you know, extreme racism has been in the news. And I mean, obviously that's caused people to be sort of slightly polarised about it, but is there also an argument which says, well, it makes the film all the more relevant? I mean, this is a subject that is...
Goodness me. I mean, one of the reasons why I wanted to make the film was because I thought it was important, and most of the films that I make don't just deal with my sort of love of love, and that's all kinds of love, not just romantic love, but also deal with a lot of my fears.
Rehearsal and action! Come on!
Some of my greatest fears are there and sort of manifesting themselves, and they're not just my fears, they're fears that lots of people have had for a long time, but they're so tangible, and it's also explicit, and it's also so unashamed now in many ways, and it's all been so normalised, and so I hope that a film like this actually reminds some of us that actually none of this is normal.
Yeah.
None of this is okay. None of this should feel usual. It should always feel uncomfortable. It should always feel challenging. We should always try whatever tools or skills we have to combat it, and mine is filmmaking, and that's the route that I've taken.
Amma, I've always been impressed by your ability to stick to your guns and, you know, and to challenge audiences. I really want people to be able to see the film so that you can start having that conversation.
Yes.
And I look forward to the release. When's it going to open?
I think it'll be 2018, so probably around the autumn of 2018.
Okay, well, we look forward to that, and congratulations on getting it made and for sticking to your guns.
Thank you.
We cut there, thank you, we have it.